outcome of the election? I think unquestionably it had an influence on the election. It influenced the election by millions and millions of Americans seeing Russian content on social media pushed out by the Kremlin. It had an effect in that the Russians were dumping emails that forced Hillary Clinton on a daily basis to have to defend herself in the campaign, and it changed the topic of the conversation on the campaign trail. But again, the very best proof that the Trump campaign viewed the Russian interference as influential is the fact that the president used it as a central part of his campaign speeches on a daily basis. And the single greatest impediment to getting to that consensus is the President of the United States, who refuses to admit it even happened, who to this day calls it a hoax and a witch hunt. So he is, I think, quite deliberately, for his own reasons, preventing the country from coming together around a defense to further Russian meddling. First, it was apparent right from the very beginning of the hearing that what Carter Page had been saying publicly was completely at odds with what he would later testify to, and the documentary evidence that we were already in possession of. So publicly, even up to 2 days before coming before Congress, he was saying that when he went to Russia, it was as a private citizen. He had no meetings of any consequence. It was basically talking to your man on the street. But as now has been revealed when we released the transcript, he met with people as high as the Deputy Prime Minister of Russia.
Which he's denied previously.
Which he denied previously. Even at the very beginning of his interview, I asked him, did you have any private conversations, any private meetings with the Russian government officials? No, absolutely not. But he sends a memo back to the campaign, which in itself is significant because he was claiming this was a private trip. Sends a memo saying that in a private conversation, basically, that I had with the Deputy Prime Minister and others in the presidential administration and members of the Duma, I gained important insights and outreach that I want to share with the campaign, completely at odds with what he'd been saying publicly. The most important thing I think that we can do right now is speak out on a very bipartisan basis that the president needs to leave Bob Mueller alone and finish his work. And I think that's the most important because we don't want to wait until there's a constitutional crisis. We need the White House to get the message now that there will be a dramatic pushback should he try to fire Bob Mueller. Probably the lowest hanging fruit is we're going to require that the tech companies, when they do political advertising, carry the same kind of disclaimer that other media are required to carry. So a paid ad on Facebook is going to need to disclose that it was paid for by what campaign and the candidate endorses the message. They were a carve-out. They're not going to be carved out anymore.